Hi everyone, this is Mary Ellen. Oh, it's a rainy day here, rainy and overcast. Spring showers are upon us yesterday. A gigantic flock of geese came and landed in a nearby water source. My guides are saying it was kind of fun to see. I always wait to hear them, and I didn't hear anything, but I was driving along to a destination, and there they were. So there were a lot of carts uh, that had pulled over by the side of the road looking at them. So I'm here today. If you're new, welcome. I publish, to the best of my ability, daily readings about love energy, and really we're talking about 4D and 5D and the mastering of our energy set point that is prophesied for us in 2019 because of all the many shifts and changes and transformations that have been coming forward. So today, I sort of hemmed and hawed about this message, but I decided to go for it because you folks have lovingly been sharing so much of your own journey with me, and I've had some wonderful moments of accompaniment with other individuals. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story, just for fun. Last night, I had a really intense dream, and it was the type of dream that I know has to do with prophecy and the mystery of my own unfolding, I guess is the right way to put it. So I decided, why not share that? I don't totally understand. Sometimes when these messages go forward, I felt as if I was definitely in the dream time, a little bit of astral travel going on because of the nature of the sleep, which when I'm astral traveling is not really sleep. It's hard to describe. So I decided I'm going to tell a little bit about the story of the dream, and then we'll just pull some cards as I go along, just so we can look together, because I have a feeling it's a little bit of implication for all of us that are connected here in this realm, and probably, maybe, I don't know yet, we'll see, maybe something to do with those of us that are connected through this channel, because part of what was on my mind when I was going to sleep, interestingly enough, some things that I'm thinking about rolling forward as additional ways for us to connect. I've been thinking about it for over a year and trying to figure it out, and I think I have come to a decision. So there will be an announcement coming forward about that. So here's the dream while I shuffle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards while I tell the story of the dream. And then I'm going to use the beautiful Celtic Wisdom Tarot deck to pull the cards out, because we're talking about soul cycle matters, my guides are saying. All right, so here I was in this dream. I was traveling along. I don't know how I was traveling. I wasn't in a car. Anyways, I was traveling along a roadway that was through some trees, and it looked familiar to a place that I actually drive through because of where my, where my house is. Anyway, so I'm traveling along, and I have in my possession, I'm moving, but there's no vehicle. I guess that's the best way to say it. So I'm moving along this pathway. I'm not walking, but I'm riding in a vehicle or something, energy, okay? And I'm holding what looks like an ant farm. I'm holding it in my hands. And I look down and I see that actually there's a snake in there. And right away my urge was, open the door, let the snake come out. And I knew, it was sort of like two thought trains at once. And I thought, no, don't do that. That's a rattlesnake. Do not open the door. And as I'm thinking, of course, I'm opening the door. I'm opening I don't know, some part of me thought, well, it's not going to come right out. And sure enough, of course, the first thing that happened was the thing just came out of there as rapidly as that kind of a creature could get out of that kind of an enclosure. And it leapt up out, and it leapt onto my crown chakra. And it was there kind of sitting in my hair. And I, of course, on one level was panicking and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. This thing is going to bite me. I've got to get help right now. I got to go find somebody to get this thing out of my hair. So as I continue moving along, I'm having a dual experience, one of sort of panic, knowing like, oh my God, this thing is going to get me. And how come it hasn't bitten me yet? And is it biting me and I don't feel it? Like, what's happening? How come it has not bitten me? And I'm waiting for it to reach down into my face and bite me or start stinging the top of my head. So as dreams go, this one felt like it went on for quite a while I was involved in the panic of, I need to go get help to get this thing off of me. And if I reach my hand up there myself, I'm going to startle it. And I got to get someone else to help me. So I go towards, next thing I know, I'm in a city. And at that point, I am in like an open air carriage. That's how it feels to me. And suddenly there are other people traveling with me. And I'm beseeching people around me to call on their telephone to get help. Like, call 911. You see that snake on my head? It's going to kill me. You got to call. Nobody's paying any attention to me. They're just kind of looking at me going, uh-huh. you know? So finally, in a sense, the Aries rising, if you don't know, I'm a Virgo with Aries rising. The Aries rising part of me turned around and yelled at a woman who was behind me. Fascinating, right? And I said, look, get off your GD phone and call 911. Can't you see what's going on right here? And the whole time I'm thinking this thing is going to kill me, and yet I knew that it would not. So a really interesting drama of the superconscious, I think. Finally, no help arrives. I get out of whatever vehicle I'm traveling in. Still, I never saw what any of my travel vehicles were, but I felt as though I was in some kind of a vehicle. Now I'm standing in the middle of a really busy, really noisy city street. And finally, and it's interesting because I have had this very similar experience in my life, which I'll tell you in a minute. I just lose my patience with the whole situation, and I just figure, well, F it. I'm getting this thing out of my hair now. I've had enough of this, and if it bites me, it bites me. I reach up, and all the while, the tail of the snake has been like dangling down near the side of my face. So, okay, there's a card. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, we're going to put that down. So that's hummingbird. So I pull the thing out of my hair, figuring, well, whatever. I got to get it out of this. This is up to me. And I pull it out, and as I put my hand on it, it begins to transform, and I'm pulling it off my head. Felt like it was all tangled up in my hair. And actually, what came out of my hair was a squirrel. And it was dead. It was mangled, as if perhaps it had been eaten by the snake, which I thought was really interesting. So let's take a look into this dream. I'm going to ask my guides to take a look together into this dream in case it means anything. Probably. I haven't totally figured it out. I mean, some of it's really obvious in terms of symbology, right? So let's take a look together, and then we'll sort of jump in, and I'm just eager to have my guides are saying, your accompaniment. All right, so let's start with snake. It's about transmutation, of course. Snake medicine people are very rare. Their initiation involves experiencing and living through multiple snake bites, which allows them to transmute all poisons, whether they are mental, physical, spiritual, or emotional. The power of snake medicine is the power of creation, for it embodies sexuality, psychic energy, alchemy, reproduction, and ascension or immortality. The transmutation of the life, death, rebirth cycle is exemplified by the shedding of snake skin. It is the energy of wholeness, cosmic consciousness, and the ability to experience anything willingly and without resistance. I wouldn't say I was without resistance, but whatever. So it's the knowledge that all things are equal in creation, and those things which might be experienced as poison can be eaten, ingested, integrated, and transmuted if one has the proper state of mind. So, as usual, this goes on for a while. This medicine teaches you on a personal level that you are a universal being. Through accepting all aspects of your life, you can bring about the transmutation of the fire medicine. This fire energy, when functioning on the material plane, creates passion, desire, procreation, and physical vitality. On the emotional plane, it can become creation, resolution, and dreams. On the mental plane, it becomes intellect, power, charisma, and leadership. When the snake energy reaches the spiritual plane, it becomes wisdom, understanding, wholeness, and connecting to the great spirit. If you've chosen this symbol, there's a need within you to transmute some thought, some action, or some desire. So the wholeness of it may be achieved. It's heavy magic, calling you to become the magician, the enchantress, etc., transmuting energy, accepting the power of fire, which I find fascinating because we have Chiron and Aries now for a couple weeks, going forward for all kinds of healing. And if you look at squirrel medicine, it's about preparing for the future. And the way the squirrel moves very rapidly, very hard to contain it, and utilizing what has been stored properly so that it can carry you through any difficult times you might come through. So, when I ponder those two things, it's kind of interesting to me because this is, all right, Spirit's talking about other times that snake medicine has come into my life, and it's come into my life with a bizarre kind of regularity. So last year when I was beginning the process of welcoming people here for shamanic journeys, I was having a very difficult time the day that the first group came here. And without getting into the long story of that, I finally gave in to the intensity of the energy because there were things that just were not working out. And I was quite worried about that. And I thought, well, I'm going to let go of it now. This is going to be what it's going to be, and that's part of the lesson for me. Nothing is perfect. I'm not perfect. My house isn't perfect. My workshops aren't perfect. There's no such thing. That's a delusion that comes out of the mind that says I'm not good enough. So, all right, I washed my hands of it. I went outside, walked in front of my house into the meadow, thinking I'm going to go pick some flowers and remind myself to bring joy into my house in these moments rather than anxiety. And there's actually the symbol of a snake on the front of my house. So as I walked across the house, I looked down and there was a snake skin, fully complete, as if a snake had just literally backed its way out. I don't know how it got out because the head is there, every piece of it is there. And it was glistening, it was filled with dew, and it was entirely perfect. And, of course, in that moment, it was rather overcoming spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. I gave some thanks. I brought it in the house and put it on a ceramic tile that I have, and I actually use that now for my daily meditation readings that I do with the Journey of Love Oracle and the Mystical Shaman. So that stays there to this day. And fascinating to me, I've had dreams in the past of snakes embedding themselves in my ankle, and that I walk forward with snakes and spiders and things like that embedded inside my human form. So all these things coming forward, now I have this dream. Fascinating. So let's take a look at Hummingbird, and we'll throw some cards and see what the guides want to say about this, because it was one of the most intense dreams I've ever had. And when you have those kind of dreams, they feel like they're going on for hours. And as I was laying in my bed and this dream was evolving, I was sweating. I was really, really, really hot. I kept throwing the covers off, tossing and turning. I was feeling a lot of pain in my joints. Something was going on. So the essence of Hummingbird. Despite being so little, hummingbirds are great journeyers. They migrate between North and Central or South America to feed on the summer nectar. This little creature can be fiercely territorial to protect its home. Hummingbird teaches us to be gentle to ourselves and to protect our personal space. Hummingbird invites you to embark on your epic quest, to bypass the dung pile of old pain and hurts, head for the flowers, and learn to trust the calling that you hear ever so softly. The buzzing you feel is the sound of your hummingbird wings preparing you to say yes to a new adventure. This is not a time to linger on what has gone wrong, but rather to trust in the rightness of the moment and to take bold action. So, interesting. I was kind of, thinking along all these lines as well. So let's take a look. Let's look into the Celtic Wisdom Tarot and see what my guides have to say. So, Spirit, can you please help us have a deeper interpretation of what this is about? Partly because I feel like I want to share that with you folks. My journey. We talk about your journey all the time. And I think that it's important maybe for me to do some of the same sharing. So, Spirit, what is the card that you'd like to give as a... Okay, my guides are talking about the word harbinger. I never know how to say that. Sort of news coming forward. So what's the card, please, Spirit? What is it that we're all meant to know in these days going forward about the meaning? They're okay, so I'm getting the word potency, the potency of the dream. Usually, sometimes what happens is I have companion dreams. So dreams come to me in series sometimes and sort of help me work it out. Well, okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense. So there's the first card, the Perfecter of Energy. So, I do have a knowing inside of myself that dream was a harbinger of things to come, for sure, about the process that's coming forward this next year, about the process that I'm engaged in, sort of an announcement about me growing into the next part of my destination, my guides are saying. And of course, this is a card that represents me, a soul journey, a 0 point, going out into the mystical realm, because destiny is turning and it's time. And part of the destination is into that sacred bowl. Let me see if I can hold this up so you can see that. The light is so terrible today. There it is. So, going out into the sacred bowl to experience a healing and definitely transmutation through the snakebite energy. Perhaps transmuting my fears, perhaps helping me to prepare for what is coming forward, to be able to store up the knowledge and the energy that I'm going to need as we come into this season of intense growth and shift and change. Interesting notations about territorial nature. Well, you know what? You guys tell me what you think. Definitely a lot of vibration. Travel, mystical travel, and we see it here in the cards, so that's interesting. And I think it's because I'm getting ready to maybe the word is reveal a little more, go a little deeper with my own process. So Spirit, tell us about the human walk. What is it that this is? I sort of feel like it's a prophecy dream in a sense. So Spirit, what is it that we need to know? You know what, I'm going to move this back a little bit. A lot of cards to come out, my guides are saying. Okay, Spirit. Let's, they're talking about doing the reveal, the big reveal, I guess I don't, I'm a Virgo, right? So I'm not entirely comfortable sharing my secrets or my personal self-knowledge and some of my experiences. I feel like I'm here to serve you. That's the nature of a Virgo. So Spirit, what do we need to know about my human walk as it relates to this dream? What's coming forward? Please help me understand. Yeah, I'm going to be really public. Okay, there it is. All right, that's interesting. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so an adventure. The warrior of skill. Come back a little bit more. These cards are so giant. All right, so that's the warrior of skill. we would relate that to the Knight of Wands. It is about rushing in for an adventure with a lot of passion, the Aries side of me, which is what I was intuiting. So we see this beautiful warrior, and I do identify the Aries side of me as my male, the male half of my nature. So the internal yin yang, male female. Clearly, to me, the Virgo is the intuitive part of me, and my Aries is what drives me forward because the little Virgo in me would never show up on YouTube. It's the Aries in me that says, okay, yeah, let's go make a fool of myself on YouTube. What the hell? It'll be fun. And it is. So it's about magic, it's about having the sustenance. The warrior of skill stands in the twilight zone, in the mystery place, not quite daylight, not quite midnight sky, and waits for the impulse, waits for the signal, waits for something to come for him in the mystical realm. And in that moment, he uses the magic that he has and he jumps up on his horse and he just rides straight into it. And very interesting that right next to it is the combat of battle. It's a story about warriors who are under a spell and they are compelled to fight each other to the death all day during the daylight hours, and at night one of them dies and the other tends to its battle partner's wounds, and neither one of them want anything to do with it. They don't want it to be happening. There's a lot of sadness and a lot of awareness of how this constant battling trickles down into the stream of life. I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. And I guess on some level, that's why I'm here. I want to see this stop. I want us to evolve beyond this and break the spell. That's a little better. So maybe that's me tending to me. That's how I interpret it sometimes when I do personal readings for people and these cards come out. So maybe diving a little deeper into my own being to break the spell of whatever the struggles I have internally, the way in which I fight with myself, maybe healing some wounds that came to me along the course of my days, my childhood, maybe. Interesting that's the sacred adventure, going more deeply inward. Yeah, see that? All right, so let's just take this one. There you go. Thank you, Spirit. The foundation of art. That's the Six of Cups. So I think what's coming through is that is about me going really deeply into my past life experience, into the nostalgia that I had. Because when I was a kid, before I knew what clairvoyance was, and before I had any conceptual basis for my identity, or my experiences that then formed my identity, that's how I felt. I felt like I was walking through the world in an altered state, and I could not understand this for the life of me. And I felt very depressed about it, even though, again, as a 5, 6, 7-year-old, there's no concept. You don't quite have, if you're a privileged white kid growing up in a fairly affluent suburb, protected from the world, you don't get it. But on a knowing basis, I knew. And so I spent a lot of my time. My mom tells a story about when I was really young. My mom had lots of kids in rapid succession. So when I was born, when I started to crawl and move around, my mom put me in a playpen, and that was in the day of back in the days of cloth diapers. She says, you used to sit in the playpen and you didn't play with the toys. You would play with the cloth diaper, and you'd put the diaper over your head and you would just sit there for hours. And I was sure that something was really wrong with you because you weren't playing peekaboo. You would just sit there. So, now I know. I don't remember at all. But I think, well, I can guess. Let me escape this crazy place where I live. And maybe I was still close enough to the veil that I just wanted to be across. So that was my experience as childhood. And then, I guess I did grow into this place of great Great sorrow. Feeling trapped by the world the way it is, trying to figure out with all my abilities how to shapeshift it, how to get out of there, how to escape, and how to heal it. And looks like maybe I'm going deeper still into this place. So that's fun and exciting. A little bit, I think I am a little bit scared of it because what does that mean? Where's my life going? Okay, Spirit. Let's get the bridge card out. Try to do this so you guys can see it. It's always a little challenging for me to do this within the viewfinder of my camera. All right, Spirit, please give us a card that bridges my human journey, my experiences to date, my guides are talking about, with the energy that's going to connect me to this next cycle of my soul journey. What is it, Spirit, coming forward? What is it that we need to know? I was talking about the basis of my readings and things like that. All right, what is the energy? What is this meant to be about? Please give us the story. A lot of chatter going on. No cards coming out. Spirit, what do you got? They're saying, are you ready? And the answer is, well, no. All right, I'm going to take this one. It's come to the top of the deck like 5 times, and I keep pushing it back in, and now there it is. You want to see? No doubt. Okay, so I love that. Shamanic journeying. I was just talking to somebody the other day about my nature as a shamanic activator within the crow medicine. So, okay, going on a journey, going on a great adventure, shamanically led adventure, no doubt, because the snake is here, and I love the way that she is looking directly into the soul travel that's going to be happening, because apparently I'm going deep. I think it is the process of the year coming forward, because the first card is about the sacred turning of feminine energy. It's about Kundalini awakening, and when we dream about snakes, there's the next card. When we dream about snakes, of course, all those things come to mind, don't they? So here's the next card. Love it. The Lovers. So this card in Soul Tarot has to do with the full name of the card is the Lover of Devotion. So it is about what we are devoted to and how we continue to choose our path going forward. She holds her abundance at her heart chakra. She's very clear. She's activated also at the third eye, and she does have 2 suitors showing in this card, indicating that she has to make a decision about the pathway that she's choosing. And it's interesting because I have been talking about that to some of my closest friends, thinking about making changes in my life and having a hard time with it, trying to figure out what to do. I know I'm not ready for decision making yet, but the thoughts creep into my mind quite a bit, and I'm feeling some internal leading about going forward. So, Spirit, I like this. So far, I'm liking it. It's not scaring me. I thought, oh, I'm putting myself at risk by doing this in public. Okay, so there's the next card. Okay, they're being nice to me today. That's what I want you to know. So, needing to go forward in this shamanically led journey in order to choose my path. What am I going to devote myself to? Who am I going to devote myself to? What does it mean for me? So there's the card. King of Cups. I love him. Spirit says that's my sacred mate. That's kind of funny. And I think where they're talking about energetically. That's me standing in my transformation as an Aries. So in this deck, that is a sacred king. He is highly activated at the heart chakra. He does have third vision. He's very mystical. And he has the power in his hands through that spirit to clear away any obstacles in order to find his path. Clearly able to shapeshift and go back and forth to the mystical realm. And lined up with that woman, and that's why Spirit's saying that's your sacred mate. It's not about me having a lover. Hate to disappoint you guys. That's like, I've kind of left that part of my life behind. I don't care anymore. I'm not I'm not really, that's just, I've been there, done that. It's not what I need anymore. If that shows up in my life, I'm happy to accept it. But it's really going to have to be something that's, you know, like that. See how they're aligned? It's going to have to be like that to get me to turn around and pay attention. That's what my guides are saying. So those of you that are new, that don't know, I am intentionally single. Have been for quite a while because I've been on this mission that my guide sent me on. And I'm very happy. I've discovered I'm very happy being single. Really, truly loving it. Love it. Quiet, peaceful. I get to focus on what I'm meant to be doing. Okay, Spirit, what's the last part of this soul journey? This next part of my cycle. And I think we are talking about the healing that's coming forward. There are two things. So the Virgo part of me coming into a certain type of vibration while the Aries aspect, the male aspect within me, receives its healing and can release whatever obstacles stand in its way. Kind of like, okay, there's the next card. Kind of like riding around for what felt like hours and hours with a snake in your hair, thinking, this thing's going to bite me, and that's going to be the end of me. And yet at the same time, kind of thinking, well, let it bite me, right? Like, just like with that kind of cheekiness, right? Some part of me is going, it's not going to hurt you. You know it's not. It was a weird dual experience. So that's perfect. I love this. The Shaper, the Sacred Mother, who brings souls across the divide. And with them, all of the bounty that they need in order to make it through this life. Okay, I love that. I love that this is here because we see this notion of rebirth in all these different kinds of ways. Interesting. So I like to think that this is a message for everybody, but I thought, time for me to sort of step out a little bit, give you a little peek into my life. All right, Spirit. What's the outcome card? Please, what's going on here? What are we talking about? What's the intention for the journey, I guess is the right question. All right, they're telling me to shuffle. All right. Spirit, what do we got going on? Can you please tell me and tell all my viewers about the outcome? What is it that's meant to be going forward on this energy? Well, interesting. Two things coming forward. The first is a major arcana card. That actually is the Hermit. That's the Counselor of Truth. And in Soul Tarot, it has to do with, my guides are saying, people like me, and I actually do live, not intensely, but somewhat the life of a hermit in ways that I was just describing, and I do live alone in the woods, and I'm not hooked to the electric grid, and I just want purity of energy. I don't want anything interrupting what is coming through to me. So I've made some really extreme lifestyle choices in that direction. So this is about coming into a place where you are the touchstone of wisdom in your life, and you have an internal process that supports that. So that's kind of lovely. I love that there's a hound sitting at this person's feet, and the hands are raised up. We see someone who has, I'm just seeing the way the light is reflecting on this, grown into wisdom, grown into their nice gray beard and their bald pate, my guides are saying. And that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know, some of you are new and I haven't been able to do a live stream, but I got gray streaks in my hair now, and I have a certain kind of acceptance of my life and of my fate, and I'm happy with the place that I'm standing. But clearly, there's another phase coming forward for me, and I think it has to do with being a crone. You know what I mean? Because I've come into this phase of my existence, and I'm happy to be standing there. And look at that! Love that. More fire energy. The courtship of skills, the Three of Wands. Love it. So there I am, the male and female parts of myself bonded in a new way. And I love this card because this man and this woman, they look out over a new shore. They're looking out they're looking into each other, but they're standing in front of a new adventure. And we cannot see what it's going to be. They look at each other, they're glad to be bonded, they're a little furtive. They stand in the full light of the sun. Leo energy, lion-hearted energy in a sense, a lot of creativity, and there are cups at their backs, meaning there's mystery we can't see in them. We don't know what's about to unfold, but we know that something very mysterious is coming forward when they, Spirit's talking about bonding their energy as stepping forward into this journey. Right at the moment, they're just standing on the shore, like the Three of Wands shows a man looking forward with his back to us, with these three wands surrounding him, signifying taking the first steps toward a new adventure. And people say, waiting for your ship to come in, things like that. All right. So interesting that those are the things I've been thinking about in my life in general. And here they come out in the cards. I like that. So let's check out the runes and see what they have to say about this. One of the things I always talk about in these spreads is to look at the diagonals in both directions and to look at the rows and the columns because there are lots of information embedded in there. And I tend to go through that when I do personal readings, that I don't do it online because it takes too much time. But, clearly a great adventure for the next part of my soul cycle that has to do with healing, because we see the sacred bowl here, we see a sacred vessel there with lots of bounty in it, and we see vessels behind the couple in the courtship of skills. So, I like it. Transmutation in order to bond myself more deeply with myself and to make the migration journey that I'm supposed to be on, I think. I like it. I'm willing to defend my territory, which I think is about me being willing to be who I am, because I'm a self-avowed that hermit, strange person, whatever. I don't quite step into the world at large because I don't want to be involved in that. It freaks me out. Well, hopefully it means I'm going to be getting some more information about this through this next phase of my soul journey so that I can see beyond it and be here to help us all move into the 4D and the 5D, which is what my guys have been talking about. All right, Spirit, what do you got for me, please? Please give forward the energy. What is the message? Look at that. Aw, that's beautiful. I'm going to put it right there. That's the rune for joy. I like it. We'll read that from the book, and then I'll let you go on about your day. And thank you very much for being here. Always remember to do me a solid, please, and click the like button. It helps the channel grow, and I would appreciate that. All right, that's page 115. I'm using the Book of Runes, crafted by Ralph Blum, who's moved on into the next realm. There's a couple videos online if you want to look him up. Seemed like he was a really cool guy. So this rune is a fruit-bearing branch. The term of difficulty is ended, and you have come into yourself in some regard. The shift that was due has occurred, and now you can freely receive Wunjo's blessings, whether they be in material gain in your emotional life or in a heightened sense of your own well-being. This is an alchemical moment in which understanding is transmuted from knowledge, which is why Snake is here, I think. The knowledge itself, was a necessary but not sufficient condition. Now you can rejoice, having been carried across the gap by the will of heaven. Joyousness accompanies new energy, energy that was blocked before now. Light pierces the clouds and touches the waters, just as something lovely emerges. The soul is illuminated from within, at the meeting place of heaven and earth, the meeting of the waters. There is a new clarity which may call for you to renounce your existing plans, ambitions, and goals. It is proper and timely for you to do so, for Wunjo is a rune of restoration of the self, properly aligned with the self. I like that. Maybe whatever internal struggle I've been holding on to perpetually is going to end now. That's part of what I'm reading into this, and I'm being given the blessings that I need because yeah, I'm meant to migrate in some way, and we see that notion all over this reading. So I'll keep you posted when I figure out the rest of it. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate that you are here with me. It means so much to me. And I want to thank you for the time that you give watching these videos and all the efforts that you put forward in your own life. There's a link to my website below. There are some interesting things unfolding. I will tell you about them soon. I think I'm kind of waiting for this mist of the retrograde to really be off, maybe at the new moon, when things come clear. New moon in Aries on the 5th of April. So, love and hugs to everybody. Wish me well. I'm trying to get my dang taxes done, and that's always just feels like an enormous struggle to me. So, this year I'm going to get some help. I'm just pausing for a minute. All right, Spirit says that's enough for now. This will, I think it means it's going to affect how I do my channel and how I do my readings and such. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Have a lovely day. I look forward to being with you again soon.